All right, very good. Good evening. Welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Advisory Commission. It is July 2nd, 2024. I call this meeting to order. Will you be taking order this evening?
Sure. Roll call.
Or roll call?
Yes, sir. Zaccaro.
Here.
Russell is absent. Norton.
Here.
Lorman's absent. Chris.
Here.
Mulligan.
Here. All right, can you please confirm we're in compliance with the Iowa Open Meetings Law?
We are.
Very good. Commissioners, in front of you are our meeting minutes from June the 5th. I'll hear any modifications or comments or entertain a motion for approval as submitted.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Norton.
Yep. Aye. Sorry.
Zaccaro.
Aye.
Chris.
Abstain.
Mulligan.
Aye. Okay, so the minutes as submitted on June the 5th, 2024 are approved. So this evening we have two action items and one public hearing. Okay, so our first action item was originally going to be tabled, but as I understand it, our applicant got everything resolved. So we are going to move on to 165 West Side Court. Is our applicant here this evening? Come on up. If you would state your name, your address, and what it is that you're looking for from the commission.
Mark Harthover. So do you want the address there or my actual home address?
How about your business address would be good.
165 West Side Court, Dubuque, Iowa.
Thanks.
And I guess we're selling lot 1. So we had surveyed, we had to redo the back property line to make it work as far as for fire and everything else that needed to be taken care of. But basically what we did in order to remedy it, we just moved where the proposed property lines were going to be so that they'd comply.
Okay. So we're requesting a waiver due to the frontage for Lot 2, as I understand it. So, okay, very good. Any questions for Mark? All right, Mark, can I have a seat? Thank you. Our staff report this evening.
Yep. Thank you. Assistant Planner Travis Strobeljan. So as you can see on your screens, the current lot is actually 2 lots already. It has a straight line that's in a different location. So in creating 2 new lots, the yellow and the blue, lot 1 and lot 2. Lot 2 is left without street frontage and therefore requires a review by both the ZAC and the City Council. The lot otherwise meets all code requirements. And I don't know that you need to know much more. So that's all I have, unless you have questions.
So the drive lane is via the easement right there?
Yes, that's correct. And they are all labeled. There's some utility and access easement, and a water easement there, of course. But
So this was originally tabled due to some,
this was never tabled. There was
excuse me.
it was under review from the DRT, and some items came up. On your screen, it shows some buildings with some setbacks, minimum requirements from the building department, fire code rating, triggered kind of a delay or some adjustments, and that's happened in the meantime.
Yeah, so with any of these plats, we always run them through a few members of our development review team, specifically to Travis's point, to look at fire codes, building codes, especially when we're separating properties that have existing structures on them, and then utility easements, access easements, things of that nature. So the fire code and the fire rating was the challenge, but the applicant has adjusted those property lines and has remedied. So this plat does reflect an approvable condition with respect to fire code and building code.
Forgive me, it was not tabled. What I meant is it was considered
A
to be
request,
tabled.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions for staff from our commission? If not, entertain a motion for approval as submitted.
I'm sorry, to clarify the recommendation there, it's subject to waiving the lot frontage of lot 2.
You're right, it is. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the plat of survey of Artoffer's Skyline Edition Number 2, and also to waive lot frontage requirements for Lot 2.
Second?
Okay.
Christ,
We have a second.
Aye.
Zucaro,
Aye.
Norton,
Aye.
Mulligan.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. I think I have something here to sign as well, is that right?
Correct.
Staff? Yep, okay.
Please,
I'll get
thank
that
you.
done tonight. Will this be going before city council?
Yes, it will.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Should have had
That
this
is
ahead
on
of time.
July 15th?
Yes,
Is that
that's
right?
correct.
Okay. Mark, you're good to go. July 15th. See you then.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I'm going
sir.
to recuse myself from the next item on the agenda.
Very good.
I'll be back for the third one.
I look forward to that. All right, our next item is a minor subdivision request at 2600 Dodge Street. I saw Mr. Colley here. If you'd come on up.
Michael Colley, Plaza 20 Incorporated, 2600 Dodge Street. I think there's a lot going on that drawing up there, but this is basically like cleaning up some of the things that in our redevelopment over the last few years and over 60 years of owning this property. For example, the Lot 1 at the top is the Dunkin' Donuts property. I'm sure all of you remember 3 or 4 years ago when we had to, in a hurry, create that second additional entry lane, and they're a ground lease tenant of ours that had never been cleaned up. We recently negotiated a 10-year renewal of their ground lease. And I think you've all seen they've put a Baskin-Robbins and put a bunch of their own dollars into that building. So I had promised them I would, the actual parcel had never been updated to have that drive lane taken away. And then on the bottom of the Lot 2, we wanted to kind of increase the size area of the Lot 3 for future development. So we wanted to move our PUD boundary, yes, right there, further to the north, right up to the edge of our commercial property. On the west portion of that, the existing PUD line actually went right through the center of a steel warehouse building. So it's another thing to clean up that line as well. So that's kind of the gist of after creating the new subway and the Aldi parcels. These were just kind of natural things that we wanted to also get completed.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any questions for Mr. Colley regarding his request? Okay, thanks, Mike. Travis, this be you.
Yes, sir. Assistant Planner Travis Schrobelgen. So as the applicant stated, they're looking to consolidate what is now about 12 lots, 63 acres total into 4 lots. The site has adequate frontage, both on the highway to the north and Brunskill Road to the south. Otherwise meets all requirements. And there are a number of easements in there which are adequate. And the one area is boxed out, which is the subway site. Is outside of this subdivision. I, again, am out of additional information, so that's all I have unless you have questions. Yeah, that's a good photo showing the current building layout.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, we approve the plat survey of Plaza 20, number 9.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Travis?
Zucaro,
Aye.
Christ,
Aye.
Mulligan.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. And we'll go before City Council on July the 15th. Thank you, Mike. I think I have a signature as well here, right? So I'll get that done tonight. All right, our next item is a public hearing. Let me flip to it. Marty, I know you're here. Give me a sec. All right, a public hearing for property at 2350, I don't even know how to say that street.
Menon.
Menon. Very good. Hi, Marty. Come on up.
Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for taking a few minutes by our request. We're representing Fidelity Company. They built their initial building in 2011, and in 2015, they purchased the property across the street, and that's the subject property that we were looking at. And the desire is they're expanding their banking operations and adding trust and a larger trust department with more employees, and in turn focus on more parking to sustain their business operations going forward in a growth endeavor. And so the desire is to put a parking lot on that lot without a building that would be supported by their existing campus sort of across the street. So it's a kind of a campus arrangement. And so we're asking for a text amendment to define it as an accessory use, kind of pertinent to the unique nature of sort of this campus endeavor with multiple properties.
Marty, all three of those buildings are Fidelity, right?
They have both. Their main branch building is at the southeast corner of that area. And then the one to the north of that was a building that was done in 2011. That house is called Fidelity Company. So they have 23 banks in Northeast Iowa, and they run their executive core out of that building. And then it's a two-story building. The upper level was initially built out. Lower level was meant to be future expansion, unfinished. And so now they're expanding and creating a trust department. They're going to put the trust department on the lower level and then add personnel for that. At the same time, that facility they use is a training center for their banking staff that comes in from various branches. And so at times, a couple times a month, they consume their existing parking.
The building on the bottom right, I'm sorry, that one is, yeah, right there. Is that theirs?
It's a dental office.
Dental. Oh, okay, that's right. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Any questions for Marty? Thanks, Marty.
All right, thank you.
Well, let's see, this is a public hearing, so we'll open it up to the public. Wally? All right, we'll close it. Staff report?
Yes.
Sheena?
Thank you. Sheena Moon, Associate Planner. So as the applicant described, this request is stemming out of a recent conceptual plan review that we did for the expansion of this property specifically for Fidelity. So the code currently does not allow, and again, I'll be specific. So in the aerial image here, this property on the east side of Menon Court is the property where we identified the challenge here with respect to uses. So the UDC doesn't currently allow for a parking lot as a freestanding, standalone use. It does allow it as an accessory use to a principal use or a conditional use that is also on the property. In this instance, though, this lot does not obviously have any development currently. And so a development of a parking lot or a portion of the lot as a parking lot to serve this property is not currently allowed by code. And so in discussions with staff and with the applicant, we wanted to be very mindful of how this could potentially allow for parking lots in certain areas. So the language that you're seeing tonight with respect to the code or the text amendment is very specifically drafted in a way that would allow for what we are calling an off-premise parking lot in both the C3 and the C2 zoning districts. So we did look at both of those districts in this consideration. And so that in the definition of this proposed use, we are very specifically calling out kind of the standards that need to be met in order to be allowed to have an off-premise parking lot. Those standards would include that it must be incidental and subordinate to a permitted use and located on a lot within 300 feet of the principal use that it serves. that it would be owned and maintained by the property owner of the principal use that it serves. That no vehicle or outside storage of any kind would be permitted in or on the off-premise parking lot, and that a site plan review would be required and approved prior to the installation of any off-premise parking lot. And so really keeping in mind that we're not trying to necessarily allow for a parking lot just to be thrown on any property anywhere in those zoning districts, but that we do want to allow for and consider circumstances such as this, where there's a unique situation where the parking lot might be across the road or maybe adjacent or separated rather by maybe another property from the property it serves, still allowing that property owner the opportunity to utilize that property in a way that best serves their business. And so that was really the thought process as we rolled into and worked with the applicant with regards to this language. So again, this would allow for, as proposed, it would allow for this off-premise parking lot to be an accessory use in the C2 neighborhood commercial and the C3 general commercial zoning districts. And so that basically is the bulk of kind of our summary of my comments. I just wanted to double check one thing. Yes, okay, that is the bulk of my comments. If there are any questions, though, staff is happy to discuss those with the commission this evening.
So an interesting thought for bullet B. So the off-premise parking lot shall be owned and maintained by the property owner, which totally makes sense.
Sure.
So, I could see this playing out, and this would be for future conversation that I think staff should talk about, but, I've seen projects of late where we're discussing parking for potential new development that's across the street that could, in theory, be owned by another party. Say it could be the city, say it could be a separate entity, maybe related, but nonetheless not direct. And that conversation should probably happen internally at the city, because that could be a situation that could warrant a change to this. I mean, this clearly fits what Fidelity's doing, so it makes a lot of sense. But
Correct.
I think down the road where there's shared parking opportunities, that could be discussed. But
I think that's a great point, Chair Mulligan. And I think that, again, this is an applicant-driven text amendment, so we were specifically looking at this situation when drafting this language. But I do think, certainly as part of our Unified Development Code update, we are in the process of going through that and kind of onboarding the consultant and moving that process forward. And I can guarantee you parking will certainly be a big discussion in scenarios just as those that you've just mentioned, share parking opportunities, maybe a reduction of parking in certain districts. There's even conversations or trends in parking discussions nationally that talk about letting the market drive what the needs are, developer determine what the needs are. So I think there's a much bigger discussion to be had around this topic, certainly. But yeah, the reason it is specific in this instance is because of this specific scenario, so.
understood. Okay. Any additional questions?
No, I'm good.
All right, I'll entertain a motion from our commission.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the council, the text amendment as submitted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Travis?
Norton.
Aye.
Christ.
Aye.
Zucaro.
Aye.
Mulligan.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. It'll go to city council on July 15th. Marty, thank you. All right, that is it. Any items from the public this evening? Great. Any items from commission, our commission? No? Okay,
So-
staff?
We did have scheduled, per the bylaws, the election of officers and the appointment of the zoning advisory commission, airport zoning advisory commission. But that is really up to the commission this evening, without having all of the commissions present, if you want to postpone that or if you'd like to move forward, that's really up to you. We can do either, obviously.
Oh, I feel like we should have the other two here.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll push that to the next meeting then, the August
Oh.
meeting.
Other two.
This is a great opportunity if you're not here
Right. Voluntold.
You're on the Airport Zoning Advisory
Yeah.
Commission. Has that commission ever met?
I was just
It
going to
has
say,
not.
have they ever met?
Yep. Our recent appointees were Commissioner Zaccaro and Commissioner Russell. I don't think we've never had a meeting of that commission, so. Yeah.
So at the next meeting, could you give us an overview of what the commission actually does?
What's all involved?
I don't think we need a motion. It's not a public hearing item or anything. We can just postpone that to the next
Table that.
meeting. I'm hearing consensus amongst the discussion here, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Make a motion to adjourn? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.